Director of National Intelligence. Oh, where's Tulsi? She's like hotter than everybody. She's the hottest one in the room right now because she found out with certainty. I think we knew it before, in all fairness, Tulsi, but now you have certainty. She has all the documents. She has everything that you need. And she found out that Barack Hussein Obama led a group of people and they cheated in the elections, and they cheated without question. It's not even a question. Would you say there's even a little question there, Tulsi? She says no. And you found things that nobody thought we'd ever find. And I'm very happy and very honored to have you with us. She's right now, by far, Speaker, she's hotter than you right now, Speaker. She's the hottest person in the room right now, Speaker. So, Tulsi, great job. And I know you have a lot more coming. She told me you've seen nothing yet.
The report goes into great detail about the information that Russia and Putin had on Hillary Clinton, which included possible criminal acts like secret meetings with multiple named U.S. religious organizations in which State Department officials offered, in exchange for supporting Secretary Clinton's campaign for the presidency, significant increases in financing from the State Department. They also had documents that showed the patronage of the State Department to State Department employees who would go and support Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. There were high-level DNC emails that detailed evidence of Hillary's, quote, psycho-emotional problems, uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness.
What I don't appreciate is that these are cherry-picked examples, that they are quibbling, angels dancing on the head of a pin. When we have volumes of reporting, you're always going to find one report that's different. Okay, whatever. The big message here for Americans, Russia tried to interfere in our election processes with the point of undermining our confidence in our democracy.
Thanks so much for joining me here at Courageous Media. This is the story that just keeps on giving. Tulsi Gabbard is a rock star, and she don't play. And this is absolutely awesome stuff. We've been covering this now for a couple of days, but there's the angle for today. The Obama has responded to these allegations. Well, I should say Obama's office has responded. Obama himself has not responded. Obama trotted out a surrogate to send a text message, which is very, very telling in the grand scheme of all this. Hey, welcome in, everybody. Thanks so much for being here at Courageous Media. Bob, first one in the house. Yes, Obama is guilty. Lynn Sanger here. Angel Salgado, thanks everybody for being here. Really appreciate you rolling up. So we are going to dive into Obama's quote unquote response, his office's response, and what I think this means and what other people think this means for the overall demeanor, for Obama's overall demeanor. Frankly, I think Tulsi has him terrified. I think she's got him panicked. Now you've also got reports that the Senate, or the House, Congress has basically issued subpoenas to both Bill and Hillary to discuss the Epstein affair, and that lawyers were meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell to basically set up her testimony to Congress. This is going to get very, very interesting as this all starts to weave together. But please, before we dive in, smash that like button and also hit the notifications. Also, leave a comment for us in the algorithm. It really helps boost the YouTube channel when you do all that. All right, so let's check this out. Here's Obama's response, or Obama's office's response. Here we go.
Respect for the office of the presidency, our office does not normally dignify the constant nonsense and misinformation flowing out of this White House with a response. But these claims are outrageous enough to merit one. These bizarre allegations are ridiculous and a weak attempt at distraction. Nothing in the document issued last week undercuts the widely accepted conclusion that Russia worked to influence the 2016 presidential election, but did not successfully manipulate any votes. These findings were affirmed in a 2020 report by the bipartisan Senate Intelligence Committee, led by then Chairman Marco Rubio. That comes from Patrick Rodenbush in President Obama's office.
So You've got basically Obama trots out Patrick Rodenbush. He doesn't do it himself. Obama doesn't get in front of a lectern and say, this is absolute rubbish. No, no, no. Obama hides in the shadows. He does not personally answer the allegations, which is very, very telling. So we're going to check out both Steve Bannon talking about Obama's response, and then we're going to directly refute some of the things in this little text message. Check this out from Steve Bannon.
This is too historic, too explosive. I'm back with Joe Allen tomorrow. The AI action plans release. We're going to be all over that. But today's a historic day. The president accusing a former commander-in-chief, a former president of high treason. That president having a spokesman respond. So it's game on. I think it's fantastic. Your show, you got it packed. And plus, I think our next guest, I believe, has the most exquisitely timed book, at least this year in all.
So basically what he said is they had his office respond. This is what you call the old Potomac two-step, one aspect of it. So what they do is when there is real blood in the water, when there is real fire to that smoke, they will have their office respond so that sometime in the future, if need be, they can say, oh, my office responded prematurely to that. That was a premature response from my office. They have got serious problems because Tulsi's got them dead to rights, changing the ICA. Tulsi's got them in the meeting with meeting minutes saying, no, 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 we don't like this ICA. I want a different ICA. And then the fact that Brennan and Clapper and Comey ran around with the Clinton campaign to manufacture evidence for the new ICA and that everybody was in on it. It was not a mistake. This is not something Obama can go blame on Brennan and Clapper and say, I had no idea. This is an absolute travesty. They never should have done this, because it's in the meeting that he starts the ball rolling. Now, in this response, which let's check back into the response here. All right, so here's the response. I want to highlight this. In the second part, nothing in the document issued last week undercuts the widely accepted conclusion that Russia worked to influence the 2016 presidential election, but did not successfully manipulate any votes. And did not manipulate any votes. Really, that's the response you want to go with, considering that this was the mantra throughout the first Trump presidency. Don't forget this.
Didn't actually win the election in 2016. He lost the election, and he was put into office because the Russians interfered.
Trump knows he's an illegitimate president.
The president-elect, although legally elected, is not legitimate.
I don't see this president-elect as a legitimate president.
You said you believe that Russia's interference altered the outcome of the election.
I do. We have a president who, if in fact it is proven, has been assisted by the Russians and may in fact not be a legitimate president.
The one thing that Trump is fearful of when it comes to his being president is that finally we will see how illegitimate his victory actually was.
I have an objection.
I object to the 15 votes from the state of North Carolina. I object because people are horrified.
He's an illegitimate president.
Do you believe Trump is a legitimate president?
What I believe is that there's no question that the outcome of this election was affected by the Russian interference.
There absolutely is a cloud of illegitimacy.
So that legitimacy is in question, yes.
So that was a very tainted election.
So that was all of their surrogates in the media, not talking about, as he tried to say, as he tried to lie in this ridiculous response, the generally accepted conclusion that they worked to influence the election but did not manipulate any votes. We just had 2 minutes of what could have been 30 minutes of Trump's illegitimate, Trump's illegitimate, Trump's illegitimate, Trump stole the election, Putin stole the election, Russia stole the election. All of that nonsense. This idea of a widely accepted conclusion is absolutely not true. They played, they parlayed, they built their entire opposition to Trump's presidency on the fact that he was illegitimate, that Russia interfered, that Russia hacked, that if it were not for Russia, Hillary would be president. Don't ever forget that. And so now we've got all this nonsense, but Tulsi still ain't playing. So Tulsi rolled out to the media, to the news scene following the Obama office response. Check this out.
We will be releasing further documents tomorrow that will refute that statement. And I would go back and point to, and we will be pulling a whole host of statements that were made by the Obama administration, by Hillary Clinton, by senior Democrat officials, by their friends in the media that state over and over again after this January 2017 manufactured intelligence document was created, that repeat the narrative. And I'm looking at my notes here. New York Times says Russian hackers acted to aid Trump in the election. Obama's CIA Director John Brennan says there is strong consensus among us to support the CIA claim Russian hackers aided Donald Trump's election. Hillary Clinton said, I would be president if not for the Russian hackers supporting Donald Trump. So there is a vast body of evidence and intelligence that debunks and refutes this statement you've just read and others coming from some of the Democrat leaders in Congress today.
Absolutely. Their own surrogates in their administration that they controlled, and the media, which they could try to say they didn't, but they absolutely controlled, were out there trumpeting the Trump is illegitimate, Russia hacked the election nonsense. This was all part of the ploy. It was all part of the coup. Diane Piat and Koala, thanks so much for rolling up. Really appreciate you being here. All right, we got one more longer clip from Tulsi as she continues to respond to this Obama nonsense as they continue to drop bombshell after bombshell, showing just how deep Obama and his administration and the Democrats were in staging a soft coup against the president of the United States and trying to make it an actual real coup. Here we go.
National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. Director Gabbard, give me your response to what we heard from former President Obama there. He's saying that none of this makes any sense, that this is a distraction. What do you say to that?
It's the art of deflection coming from former President Obama, as well as his friends who are still in Congress today, and Senator Warner and Congressman Jim Himes, really all basically saying that exact same statement, which doesn't actually address the issue that was revealed in great detail in the over 100 documents that we released last week, and the documents that we will be releasing later this week that point to the undeniable fact that you laid out in your introduction to this segment, is that the intelligence community had one assessment, that Russia did not have the intent or capability to try to impact the outcome of the U.S. election leading up to Election Day. The same assessment was made after Donald Trump was elected by the American people as president in 2016, defeating Hillary Clinton. And it wasn't until after that pulled President's Daily Brief document that you referenced that the Principals Committee was called in the National Security Council, and President Obama then directed Obama's DNI James Clapper to lead the effort to create this new intelligence community assessment that detailed not if, but how Moscow attempted to influence the outcome of the U.S. election. So this is the thing that I think people should pay attention to, is neither the message from President Obama's office, neither the statements coming from Democrats in Congress today and their friends in the propaganda media. None of them are addressing this fact that there was a shift, a 180-degree shift from the intelligence community's assessment leading up to the election to the one that President Obama directed be produced after Donald Trump won the election, that completely contradicted those assessments that had come previously. The second thing I want to address that's very important.
That's absolutely true. Realize that the ICAs were all consistent leading up to the election and through November. It wasn't until December that Obama and Clinton realized they needed to do something different because they were spying on Trump's campaign in the middle of all this. And they also needed to try to shield Hillary from prosecution for her email server, which Trump had promised in the run-up. So they came up with this, and they shifted the ICA, and that ICA was shifted in the meeting in the Oval Office in which Obama said, no, I want a new ICA. I want a new directive. Russia did interfere in the election. So this all starts from the top. It's all manipulated and it's all false, and that's verifiable.
Laura, is that you in the clip that you played, you saw John Brennan, James Clapper, James Comey stated with high confidence this January intelligence community assessment that they drafted at the direction of President Obama. The fact is that they used already discredited information like the Steele dossier. They knew it was discredited at that time, yet they used it as a source for this document that they claim to have high confidence in. They used intelligence that some of these intelligence community professionals rejected previously because of the lack of credibility and the lack of the ability to vet with any kind of confidence whether or not that information or intelligence was accurate and could be used for an assessment. There's a long laundry list of facts and intelligence reporting that directly contradict the statement coming from President Obama's office and those who are trying to deflect away from what actually happened, which was after Donald Trump was elected. Led by President Obama, there was an effort to create a document that would serve as a foundation for what would be a years-long coup against President Trump, therefore trying to subvert the will of the American people who sent him to the White House in 2016.
Absolutely. And now she's got whistleblowers who have said they actually approached Brennan, Clapper, and said, hey, we can't base anything on this Steele dossier. It's crap. We know it's false. We know it's garbage. We can't do this. And they were ignored because they had their directive from Obama. This thing is going to blow wide open. Now, the only question remains, will there be real accountability? Call your congressman, call your senators, demand that there be real prosecutions for this. Don't just sweep it under the rug now. It's out there. Pam Bondi needs to open an investigation. She needs to issue indictments. She needs to convene grand juries, and they need to perp walk these people out of their homes in the public eye. There needs to be real accountability. Now, hey, good day, Aussie. Really appreciate you rolling up from Brisbane, Australia, down under. All right. So before we dive into our next story, please like, comment, and subscribe. Also share Courageous Media with everybody that you know. Let's get on the other side of this algorithm because we are clearly being throttled by YouTube. I agree. Now, I want to cover this story because it's once again Trump is going to run the narrative. Now, we have this situation, if you don't know, Alina Habba was basically appointed by Trump to be the U.S. Attorney for New Jersey, his representative, his DOJ representative in New Jersey. And the state of New Jersey didn't like that. But it's a federal position. So they got 16 federal judges, all basically Obama, Biden appointees in New Jersey, to simply say that they don't want Alina Habba. And so they can kick her out. This is there's a statute that allows them to do this. A lot of people are saying it's unconstitutional and this could be litigated at the Supreme Court level. So they basically kicked Alina out and said, no, Alina cannot be our U.S. attorney. We appoint her surrogate, and I forget the name. But Trump is like, no, we're having none of this. So Pam Bondi immediately fired the one that they appointed. Now, this all goes back, I believe, to LaMonica McIver, who is now under indictment by the DOJ, and the case was being prosecuted by Alina Habba and is facing multiple years in prison for assaulting ICE officers. Now, check this out, because this was Alina Habba's other statement, her actual statement. So here's Pam Bondi. Alina Habba has been doing a great job in making New Jersey safe again. Nonetheless, politically minded judges refused to allow her to continue in their position, replacing her with the first assistant. Accordingly, the first assistant United States attorney has been removed. So she basically took a stick and stuck it in the eye of the illegitimate federal judiciary in New Jersey. The Department of Justice does not tolerate rogue judges, especially when they threaten the president's core Article 2 powers. Exactly. It is written in the Constitution that the president gets to appoint judges, not Congress. Therefore, Congress cannot pass a statute that says anybody else has veto power other than the constitutionally appointed Senate in the nomination and confirmation process. So this is going to get very, very ugly. But Trish Reagan had a good segment on this. I want to dive here, spend just a couple minutes listening. She had a great explanation for all this. Really appreciate everybody rolling up. Here we go. Check this out.
La Monica is one of the reasons that Alina Habba is being told to step aside. Bondi's like, hey, not so fast, guys. And in fact, she's effectively telling these guys to go pound sand. You get a bunch of very liberal judges that were appointed by, Biden, that were appointed by Barack Obama, and they have their own motivations, shall we say, and their own motivations seem to be conflicting with what the president would like, and he would like to see Alina Habba in the gig. Alina actually, you know what? She's a good attorney. She's had good support around her. She did the right thing. She tried to give LaMonica an out. LaMonica didn't take it. And now this is the result. I'm sorry. So Bondi's making the point that you guys can't just supersede the authority, if you would, of the president of the United States. And haven't we been through this before? And didn't the Supreme Court already say, no, he gets to have his way on a whole bunch of this stuff? Here's the headline that was in the New York Post. Trump picked Alina Habba, booted as New Jersey's top prosecutor. Pam Bondi says not so fast. She said not so fast because they tried to put in somebody else. And she's like, no, I'm not going to approve that other person. And the president is the one who's going to make the decision on that. So
absolutely,
tough luck,
the president's got
okay,
two things that they can do. They immediately need to appeal this. They need to appeal this and basically I would reinstall Alina Habba and tell the judge to go pound sand and appeal it. At the same time, Johnson and I believe Thune have announced that the Congress is going to go on recess for a month. Well, as soon as they go on recess, Trump can simply appoint her for 221 days. So she can be the U.S. attorney for New Jersey for 221 days, subject then to Senate approval, the nomination confirmation process, basically, almost a year from now. So it's absolutely amazing. So I think that's exactly what Trump should do. I think they should appeal this as soon as the Senate goes on recess, simply appoint her, and she's in for quite a while. That's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments.
He's immediately going into action. I like seeing this side of Pam. I got to tell you, I really, really do like seeing this side of Pam. And it's important to do right now because you get judges that think they can do anything. This one, District Judge Renee Marie Bum. How's that for a name? In all seriousness, Renee Marie Bum. A bum. You can't forget that, okay? I don't mean to make fun of somebody's name, but you got to admit that's a good one.
No, I think we absolutely should make fun of these people. We should ridicule them. We should run them out of town on a rail. That's what that whole phrase means. We should ridicule these people when they overstep their authority.
Renee Marie Bum announced the appointment of one Ms. Grace, a woman named Desiree Grace, who Habba had appointed first assistant to the U.S. attorney shortly after taking office. And Bondi came back and said, nope, we're not going to approve her. Not happening. So this is Ms. Grace, as you see, and nothing against her. She's actually a registered Republican, but it's the fact.
No, absolutely. It's nothing against her necessarily, because obviously Alina Habba wanted her as first assistant. This goes back to, we are tired of having rogue judges try to dictate the presidential directives. We are tired of having rogue judges trying to be president of the United States. They weren't elected. We elected Donald Trump. And therefore, by default, we elected the people that Donald Trump has appointed. And frankly, I want Alina Habba in New Jersey. I want her prosecuting McIver. I want her potentially prosecuting anything else that happens in New Jersey. Let me know what you think. Really appreciate everybody rolling up. Remember that God is good and he is sovereign. Before you leave, please smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on those notifications. Check the notifications because YouTube likes to turn them off automatically for people. And please share Courageous Media with everybody that you know. And if you're willing and you want to support the channel, please join us as a member of the Courageous Army. You can hit that join button right there on YouTube. Really appreciate everybody rolling up. Till I catch you next time.